guys, welcome back to another video. So today we are going to talk about the very beginning of astronomy. A very long time ago, people didn't know what stars actually were. They didn't know about galaxies, planets, or space like we do today. But they noticed something amazing. The sky moves in patterns. The sun rises and sets every day. The moon changes shape. And the stars slowly move across the night sky. So humans started asking questions like, what are these lights, and can we use them to understand time and direction? And guess what? They could! So the sky became like a natural calendar and a giant compass. But at that time, people didn't actually understand what stars really were. So they tried something very creative. They started connecting the stars together to form shapes. And that's how constellations were born. People have been looking at the sky for thousands of years. One of the first things humans did was create constellations, imaginary shapes made by connecting stars. More than 3,000 years ago, the Babylonians were already describing constellations, including one called Capricorn. The ancient Egyptians, at around 3500 BC, had also identified a group of stars and used them to follow the seasons. In China, astronomers divided the sky into 28 lunar stations to track the moon's journey. Later, the Greek astronomer Ptolemy created the famous list of 48 constellations. And today, we officially recognize 88 constellations in the sky. Some of the most famous are the Big Dipper, Scorpius, Orion, or Leo. You can see most of them without a telescope. And some shapes seemed so obvious that different civilizations, with no contact between them, discovered similar patterns in the stars. Among the 88 constellations, 12 are located on the path that follows the sun during the year. This path is called the ecliptic. These 12 constellations are called the zodiac constellations, and they are a little bit famous than the others. Basically, every year, the sun spends about 1 month in each of these constellations. When the sun is in front of a constellation, it becomes impossible to see it in the sky. A few months later, when the sun has moved further away, the constellation can be seen again. But constellations were not only used for stories, they were also tools to measure time and predict seasons. Ancient people didn't have clocks or calendars like we do today, but they noticed something amazing. Some stars appeared at the same time every year. For example, the Egyptians noticed that when a bright star called Sirius appeared just before sunrise, something important was about to happen. The Nile River would soon flood, and this flood was essential for farming. And in ancient Rome, the same star appeared during the hottest days of summer. Did you know that since Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, is part of the constellation called Canis Major, which means the great dog in Latin, people a long time ago gave it the nickname Canicula, which means the little dog, also in Latin. And because people believed that Sirius, the little dog, was responsible for the hottest days of the year, this is why we have the expression the dog days of summer. In French, it also gave us the word canicule, which means a heat wave. So we learned that stars were not just beautiful lights in the sky, they were also tools for survival. But there was a mystery. Astronomers realized that the stars did not move randomly. They followed rules. But sometimes their predictions did not match what they saw. And this created one of the biggest mysteries in astronomy. Have you ever wondered why the stars seem to move together across the sky? Thousands of years ago, people like Aristotle had an idea. They thought that all the stars were attached to a giant sphere around the Earth. Before we continue, there is something important that you need to know. Ancient astronomers already knew that the Earth was round, not flat. How did they know? They noticed that during a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow on the moon was always curved. They also saw that ships slowly disappeared below the horizon, starting with the bottom of the ship. So, in their model of the universe, the Earth was a sphere in the center, surrounded by the sphere of stars. But they also noticed something strange. Some objects in the sky did not move with the stars. They found 7 wandering objects: the Sun, the Moon, and 5 other moving points of light: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They called them planeta, which means wanderers, because they wander across the sky and were not part of the star sphere. By the way, the reason that Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto aren't there is because 2000 years ago, they couldn't see them because the only way of seeing them is with a telescope, which back then they did not have. They were only discovered in more than 1500 years. The ancient astronomers thought the faster an object moves in front of the stars, the closer it must be to the Earth. So, their universe looked like this: Earth in the center, then the Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and finally the stars. And these 7 wandering objects also gave us the 7 days of the week. This model was beautiful and simple, but there was a problem. Ancient people watched the sky much more than we do today, and they noticed that some planets, especially Mars, did not move in the way they should. Mars seemed to sometimes move backwards. This gave astronomers a huge problem. In Aristotle's time, people believed that Earth was the center of the universe. They thought the Sun, the Moon, the stars, and all of the planets moved around the Earth in perfect circles. But there was one big problem: Mars. Every couple of years, Mars seemed to slow down in the sky. Then it stopped, moved backwards for a while, stopped again, and finally started moving forward once. Even stranger, it became much brighter while this was happening, as if it was getting closer to the Earth. This confused astronomers for hundreds of years. Then, around the year 150, the astronomer Ptolemy came up with a clever idea. He said that Mars wasn't just traveling in one big circle around Earth. Instead, it was moving in a small circle called the epicycle, while that small circle traveled around the Earth in a bigger circle, which is called the different. And guess what? It matched what people saw in the sky surprisingly well. But there was just one tiny problem. It was wrong. The real reason Mars appears to move backwards is because the Earth and Mars are both orbiting the Sun. Since Earth moves faster than Mars, we sometimes catch up and pass it, so we see it go backwards. Because Ptolemy's model worked so well, people believed it for over 1400 years before scientists finally found enough evidence to prove that it was wrong. Sometimes, even a really smart idea can slow down science if nobody has a better explanation. Alright, so in the next video, we will see how ancient astronomers managed to calculate the moon's diameter without any instruments. So, with that said, see you guys in the next video. Bye!